Hello! Shoyan here, I'm a carpenter in Japan. Today, I'll install the pony wall to the staircase. Changing the direction, I'm going to install it from the bottom up. I'm going to frame the pony wall first. The frame is 30mm by 90mm. The studs were cut a little and made 90mm. I'll install the boards directly to the stairs 90mm square support column. That's why I cut it to 90mm, which is the same width. The stairs are still on the foundation. Since it's hard to extend the frame to the foundation and only cut the staircase part, I'll raise the foundation part. It's easier to install the studs after raising the foundation, so I'm doing that now. The top rail of this pony wall is not an actual handrail. Another handrail will be installed on the inside of the pony wall later. It'll be installed at the height of about 750mm from the stairs. So I'll build the fall prevention pony wall with the top rail about 15cm higher than that in advance. First, I'll install the corner stud as a reference point. The pony wall will be on the same slope as the stringer, so I'll temporarily install a straight furring strip and use it as a slope reference. I'll install the corner stud. It'll be installed in front of the staircase. The front and back can be firmly secured, but both sides tend to tilt, so I'll screw it in place so that it won't tilt. I'll decide the slope of the top plate on the stud by using the temporary furring strip. Since the stud is cut at the same angle as the top plate, I can also use a piece of a stud as a support. Even if the top plate is cut at an angle, it doesn't always fit well at the corner. It is tricky to install a top plate on the slope. Like this part, it seems easy, but it's hard to align the cutting at the corner and screw it in. With a screw, it will shift when it's secured at an angle part, so I'll adjust the mount that shifts and secure it. Now, I'm going to install the studs on the inner side. I'll cut it so that the top plate that supports the top rail is straight. It will arch upward if I install the studs in the front, and sink if I install them in the back. So I'll install it where the top plate will be straight and slightly warp upward at about 3mm. I'll also install the pony wall on the second floor. It's a stairwell, so the pony wall is built to prevent falls, not as a railing. But generally, we call it a stair railing or a stair hall railing in Japanese. This wall is 900mm high. If it's a balcony, it needs to be 1100mm high. But if it's a stairwell, 900mm will pass inspection. It will just get in the way if it's too high. So 900mm is perfect. I'll install the 90mm square support column on the corner only. If there is no 90mm square, I can use studs, but I need 3 30mm studs. So it's easier to use a square column on the corner. The pony wall on the top 4 stairs will have the same slope. It won't be a good shape if it slopes from the top of the second floor. So I'll level the pony wall for a small section, then slope it down. It won't be the same height as the pony wall below, but I'll make it so that it won't feel uncomfortable. I'll cut the support column since I've measured the wall height. I don't really like cutting this column diagonally because the stairs will be damaged if I drop it. Next, I'll install the frame the way I did below. Since the pony wall is horizontal, I'll install the top plate first. If I make this part too short, it won't look good once the decorative top rail is installed. It should be at least as long as you see in the video. I'll make a small opening in the fall prevention pony wall on the second floor. It's not a peephole, it's a decoration. The opening will be narrow and vertical. The dimensions are the size of the head of the child who is about to stand up on their hands. If they can get their hand into it, they'll try to get in. If the opening is horizontal, their body can also pass through if it's large enough for their head. It's smaller than a typical opening. The frame is now complete. I'll install the decorative cedarwood top rail on it. I'll use 33mm hardwood straight grain cedar for the decorative top rail. The length is about 4 meters, and I'll use it to make all the parts. If it's cut into a straight grain, exposed on all 4 sides, it tends to tear out on the back. Also, it's hard to find 4 meters. I can use more wood, but the color will be mixed if I do so. But if it's only 2 pieces of wood, it's easier to match, at least if they are similar in color. I'll finish the top rail first, then install it. I'll chamfer wildly on the top surface. Next, I'm going to measure the lengths. The corner won't be a miter joint, it'll be a butt joint which just cuts pieces at the right angles and joins them. Miter joint will be finished well, but it will shift a year later, creating gaps. Also, there is a wood sill right under the spot. So I'll join them with a butt joint, as this is the simplest way to avoid problems in the future. I make the shorter piece thinner when I join the corner with the butt joint. When joining the pieces of wood with the same thickness, the end will protrude about 1 mm. So I'll chamfer the bottom side about 1 or just over 1 mm to make it thinner. Now I'll install it. I will cast a magic spell on the end before installation. I'll dent the end with the backside of the hammer. The glue will go into the indented area and works like a dowel, so it's less likely to shift when joining than an end that's just been sanded. I always do this when joining ends together. If I use a 65mm screw, the tip will protrude slightly, so it's too long. I'll use 50mm Nageshi screws. A Nageshi screw is a panhead screw with a small washer and a half round top. The screw can hold wood together firmly. I'll use a screw to secure the top rail. I'll screw it from below, so I'll make sure to use a tension rod to hold it from the top. It will be used to apply the same pressure until the glue dries. I'll also install it on the slope. The sloped part won't fit the first time, so I'll rough cut the top rail, then adjust to make the final cut. The shape of the pony wall will be determined by the short top rail at the top of the slope. If this part is long, the wall on the top 4 stairs will be high, and if it's too short, the corner won't fit. That's why I rough cut it first. The top rail is already finished with a planer, but I will also sand it. It's hard to make the external corner angle smooth with a planer. Sandpaper is an excellent tool for this. If it is all finished, it will look beautiful. I'm going to install the top rail below as well. At the bottom, I'll make the top rail protrude 1 cm from the pony wall and cut it at a right angle. Some people cut it angled, but I like it right angled, so I do that. I'll install the wall stopper under the decorative opening. I'll use a piece of top rail that I cut earlier. It will be installed only at the bottom and protrude slightly on both sides of the wall. 3 sides will be finished with plaster. Although the staircase installation is a tricky job, the pony wall is equally challenging. The board will be installing this. Although the area is not large, it is challenging to install because the footing is not good. This part gives the overall impression of good or bad shape. I think it will be a good shape. Now, I've installed the pony wall. It turned out to be a pretty open pony wall.
ったと思います。
Next time, I'll build a study. That's all for today. Thanks for watching.